So welcome to Paritranaya. So already we have discussed about what various PYQ driven discussions we had. First we started with ancient history, then we discussed of economy from 2025 to 21. Then after that we came up with geography. We discussed from 25 to 21. Next, in the previous class we discussed about the Indian national movement. Okay, again the modern history, there is a sub classification, we call it as Indian national movement. Again exact demarcation is not there, but still, so yesterday we discussed about around 25 questions from Indian national movement 2025 to probably 2018 or 17. Okay, 17. Next, other part which we generally call it as modern history. So we will be discussing few questions of it. So after that we will be switching to what, medieval history. Okay, medieval history. So with this we will be what, completing the entire history part once: ancient, Indian national movement, modern history and medieval history. So after that again we shall switch to some other subject. Okay, so switch to some other subject. Yes. So when was the Indian National Congress formed? 1885. Swadeshi movement? 1905. Non-cooperation movement? 1920. Civil disobedience movement? 1930. Quit India movement? 1942. Okay, 1942. Next, Gandhi-Irwin Pact is associated with which movement? Non-cooperation, civil disobedience, quit India, Swadeshi. Civil disobedience movement. Okay. Who was the viceroy during the formation of Indian National Congress? Dufferin. Before Dufferin? Ripon. Before Ripon? Lytton. Vernacular Press Act was brought during the tenure of Lytton. Okay. Next, Ilbert Bill controversy happened during the tenure of Ripon. Okay. Ripon. Next, 1857 revolt. So who took it to Bihar? Kunwar Singh. Who took it to Jhansi? Or Jhansi, it was led by Rani Lakshmibai. Okay. So at least overall we need to have an idea. Okay, starting from 1857 to what? 1947. Okay, 1947. So in which session did the split between moderates and extremists take place? 1907. Where was the session held? Surat session. Right. So who was presiding it? Rash Bihari Bose. Rash Bihari Bose. Rash Bihari Bose is a personality, famous personality associated with which movement? Gadar movement. Okay, Gadar movement. Next, when did these factions again unite? Moderates and extremists. 1916. Right? Where was session held? Lucknow. So who presided it? Ambika Charan Majumdar. Right? Who played an important role in the union of moderates and extremists? Annie Besant. Okay. So when did Annie Besant preside the Indian National Congress session? In which year? 1917. Where was the session held? Yes? Calcutta. Who was the first Indian woman to preside the Indian National Congress session? Sarojini Naidu. Which year? 1925. Okay. Where was session held? Kanpur. Who was the first Muslim to preside the Indian National Congress session? Syed Badruddin Tabji. So in which year? 1887. Where was session held? Madras. Okay, Madras. So next we shall start with what? A few questions of modern history. So those who have joined in online mode, am I audible? Okay, but you are not audible. So I have to slightly increase. Right. So this is a 2025 question. Consider the following statements about the Rajaram Mohan Roy. Okay, Rajaram Mohan Roy. Video is not. Yes, what's the issue? Video, there is no clarity. Okay, not visible. Just a minute. I'll check. Okay, now it's visible. Okay. So consider the following statements about Rajaram Mohan Roy. He possessed a great love and respect for the traditional philosophical systems of the East. He desired his countrymen to accept the rational and scientific approach and the principle of human dignity and social equality of all men and women. Okay. So this topic can be classified under which section within the history? Okay, social reform movements. Okay, social reform movements. So generally when it comes to Rajaram Mohan Roy, we are aware of what the organization which he started. Which was the organization that he started? Okay, Brahma Samaj. Okay. Now this verbatim as it is generally will not be able to find it in standard books, but generic approach when you apply. Okay, he possessed a great love and respect for the traditional philosophical systems of the East. So when there is a term called as East, it means they are referring to whether India is part of the East or West. East. Okay, so he was interested in the Eastern philosophical systems, and also he wanted to bring some important features from the West as well. Okay, West as well. So here the first statement is right, and in such case of reform movements and their philosophies, you will not get exact statements. Either it may be Bipin Chandra or it may be Spectrum or any other book. So we need to take a generic stand based on the generic understanding that we have. Okay, Next, he played an important role in the abolition of Sati system. Okay, Sati system. Now, whenever a positive statement is associated with a social reformer, okay, generally that positiveness will be correct. Okay. Now, when it comes to Sati system, so he played an important role. If they associate some other personality, and if they say that they also played an important role in the upliftment of women, true or false? So generally it will be true. They might have not directly played an important role in the abolition of Sati system or education, but if there is a positive statement, then definitely it will be correct. Now here in this context, he possessed great love and respect for the traditional philosophical systems of the East. Now in some of our discussion we have seen, so whether Brahma Samaj believed that Vedas are infallible, Vedas can never become wrong. Okay, not infallible. There are some mistakes in Vedas as well, but there are best part also in Vedas. So let us club the beautiful features of the East as well as the West. So this was the philosophy. Now there was some school who believed that Vedas are infallible. Yes, Dayananda Saraswati. So in this fashion, these are very important information, but here they are not used such kind of extreme statement. Okay, so he possessed great love and respect for the traditional philosophical system of the East. Okay, including India. Okay, including India. He desired his countrymen to accept the rational and scientific approach and the principle of human dignity and social equality of all men and women. So again, this is a positive statement, and all the social reformers, they focused on what? They focused on human dignity and social equality. Okay, social equality of all men and women. Now statements like rational and scientific approach. Okay, so in the context of Rajaram Mohan Roy, we have not come across rational and scientific approach. In the discussion of some other social reformers, we have come across, but here we will not overthink. Okay, we will not overthink and mark a wrong choice. So here we shall take a generalist approach. So what is rational thinking? What is scientific approach? Questioning everything. Everything should have a reason. Okay, should have a reason. So here we shall take a generic approach. Okay, and we shall conclude that 2 is also true. Okay, 2 is also correct. So in such reformers related philosophies and all, many times the options will confuse us. But still, if it is positive, then we have to take a stand and you have to interpret it as correct. Okay, interpret it as correct. So in this context of Rajaram Mohan Roy, they asked a question. So there are very less chances that they may ask the same question in the next year. But based on this, which are the other things that you will prepare? So associated with Rajaram Mohan Roy, you will prepare of what? Brahma Samaj. You will prepare about what? Sati system. For example, during the abolition of Sati system, so who was the viceroy? Who played an important role here, apart from Rajaram Mohan Roy? Yes. See, this is how we are supposed to think. So Rajaram Mohan Roy, important agency is Brahma Samaj, and he played an important role in the abolition of Sati system. So when the Sati system was being abolished, who was the viceroy? Okay, who was the viceroy? So that thought process you will subject to. Next, apart from Brahma Samaj, which are the other important social reform movements? Can you recall few of them? Yes, Arya Samaj. Next, Satya Shodhak Samaj. Next, Arya Samaj. Yes, Prarthana Samaj. Okay, Prarthana Samaj. Now, apart from these, there are many other social reform movements which are compiled at the end. Okay, so they relatively enjoy a lesser priority, and with respect to those movements, what you will do is you will only focus on founders, who are the personalities associated with them. But when it comes to these movements or organizations, what you will do? You will go one extra step. That is, apart from the founders, you will also focus on the year of establishment. So Brahma Samaj was established in which year? 1828. Next, Arya Samaj was established in which year? Satyashodak Sabha was established in which year? Pratna Samaj was established in which year? Who is the founder or personality associated with Arya Samaj? Next, Satyashodak Samaj? Jyotiba Phule. Pratna Samaj? Atmaram Pandurang. Okay. So here when it comes to these important organizations, we'll focus on the year of establishment as well as the personality associated. But when it comes to other socio-religious movements which have been listed, which have been compiled at the end of the notes, there will not go into detail. We'll only focus on the social reform movement and the personality associated. We'll also not focus like whatever their philosophies also. Okay. Because these are important and they relatively enjoy lesser priority. Okay, lesser priority. So based on this question, we'll revise all those things. Okay. We'll revise all those things. So the first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, a music training school, was set up in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar in which place? Okay, in which place? So these questions generally in case of Nitin Singhania, so somewhere, okay, they have mentioned, I think they have mentioned it, but I have not included it as a part of the notes, I guess. Okay, notes, I guess. So here we just update the content. Okay, so where was it established? What's the answer here? Lahore. Lahore is the answer. Okay, Lahore. Okay, Lahore. Now we will not prepare much about it. Just what Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya. So music training school was set up in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar and Lahore. Only this information will retain. We are not going to prepare any other extra information. Okay, extra information. And sometimes such information might also appear as part of the current affairs. Now someone who have written an article on music, so while during that articulation, somewhere they might have mentioned about this, that first such school was established in 1901 and so on. Okay, and so on. But here we will only stick to this information. We will not extrapolate or we will not explore for more information. Okay, more information. And sometimes if we are not aware, then chances are that we may even miss the question as well. Okay, miss the question. So in such kind of questions, when you absolutely have no idea, okay, then you have to leave that question, because only if you are able to eliminate and if you come to 50-50, then you should take a risk. Otherwise, if you don't have any kind of idea, then you should leave the question. Okay, leave the question. Otherwise, sometimes some random approach will apply. You'll make a wild guess and it may it may happen correct also. For example, Delhi, Gwalior and Ujjain, they are located in India. Lahore is located in Pakistan. Okay, but a very wild guess. Okay, very wild guess. Sometimes again it may backfire as well. Okay, backfire as well. If you do not have any kind of idea, you will just leave that question. Okay, leave that question. Okay, I think this question we also discussed under what? Geography as well. So similarly, the same thing you can revise here. So which were introduced in India by Portuguese? Okay, all the three. Okay, all the three were introduced simultaneously. What you can do? The same list you can write it once again. Which were the other fruits? Okay, fruits introduced in India by Portuguese. Okay, by Portuguese. And also at the same time, geography related things like they are native of which country. Okay, that thing also you can list it once again. Okay, list it once again. Who among the following was the founder of the self-respect movement? Okay. So as I mentioned, when it comes to Brahma Samaj, Pratna Samaj, Arya Samaj, so we are interested in the what year as well as the personalities. So as I mentioned, the socio-religious other reform movements. So at the end we have compiled. So there we have this personality. Okay. This organization as well as personality. Here we are not interested in the year. Here we are also not interested in the philosophy also. Here we will only focus on the organization and the founder. So who is associated with the self-respect movement? Okay, Periyar, E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. Okay, so this information I have compiled it from Spectrum, not from Bipin Chandra. Okay, so wherever necessary information is required, I have compiled from Spectrum. So this is from Spectrum. Similarly, in this context, what you can do is, they also mentioned in the notes, I also mentioned about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the associated organizations. Can you recall one or two organizations? Social organizations, not political parties and all. So socio-religious reform organizations. No, that is a particular movement. Okay, that's a particular movement. So one or two organizations also, if you have that history book, you can go through the compilation. At the end, it has been mentioned. Yes. Depressed classes movement. Good. Next. Yes. Bahishkrit Bharat. Good. Next. Yes. Samaj Samta Sangh. Next. Scheduled Caste Federation. So what you will do while revising, you list here itself. Okay, you list. Apart from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, there have been other personalities, especially Gandhiji. Okay, so which are the reform movements associated with Gandhiji? Harijan. Next. All India Untouchability. Next, only two. Yes, All India Anti-Untouchability League is there. What is the word? League. All India Anti-Untouchability League. Okay. So similarly, what you will do when you come across this question, the entire that list, it has to be read and it has to be the information has to be retained. So probably in tomorrow's test, okay, in tomorrow's test, whatever the syllabus was there for today, okay, until today, including ancient, medieval, modern, whatever you have discussed, again this part will be included as part of it. Okay, and also you have to set that idea that if you are going to score out here, okay, so 5% variation is okay, but if it is beyond it, then you have to think twice. Okay, you have to think twice, because these are very, very smaller targets that we are setting. We are not setting very high ambitious targets like 140 and 120, and accordingly daily I am not giving you 20 to 30 topics, hardly around 6 to 7 topics. Okay, so we have to set those targets and we have to work accordingly. Okay, work accordingly. So the entire list you have to prepare. So with reference to the revenue collection by Cornwallis under the following statements. Okay, following statements, consider the following statements. So already in the previous class also we discussed, okay, in Indian national movement, there also we came across somewhere on Cornwallis and all. So three systems are there. Which are three systems? Zamindari system, Raitwari system, Mahalwari system. So what is the basic information that we prepare? Who are the personalities associated? Who brought the system? Okay, who brought Zamindari system? Personality associated with Zamindari system? Cornwallis. Personality associated with Raitwari system? Alexander. Next? Thomas Munro. Next, when it comes to Mahalwari system? Yes, seconds. Now, apart from this, what we have seen is in which areas they existed. So, Zamindari system existed in which part of India? Eastern part of India. Next, Raitwari system? Southern part. Next, Mahalwari? Western part. So this information already we know. But if you look at this question, it is a bit challenging. Under the Raitwari settlement of revenue collection, the peasants were exempted from revenue payment in case of bad harvests or natural calamities. Okay, natural calamities. Next, under the permanent settlement in Bengal, if the Zamindar failed to pay his revenue to the state on or before the fixed date, he would be removed from the Zamindari. Okay, Zamindari. So with reference what? Cornwallis. Okay. Here the question itself is a bit confusing. Why it is confusing? If you look here, with reference to revenue collection and by Cornwallis. So Cornwallis means which system? Zamindari system. Here they have mentioned about Raitwari settlement. Means obviously first one will be correct or wrong? It will be false. What is the official answer key here? 20. It's a 2024 question. 2024 question. Just verify official answer key. Because based on the statement, based on the understanding itself, we should be able to conclude that the first statement is wrong. Two only? Okay. Now, this statement is wrong. Under the Raitwari settlement of the revenue collection, the peasants were exempted from revenue payment in case of bad harvests or natural calamities. Now, what we have to search here is, okay, even though option 1 is wrong, why it is wrong? Whether by connecting Raitwari with Cornwallis, for this purpose it is wrong, or peasants were exempted from what revenue payment is there, no? This statement itself is wrong, whether they are exempted or not. So what you will search here is, you forget for the time being Cornwallis, you go to Raitwari system. Okay, Raitwari system. In Raitwari system, if there was a bad harvest, if there was a bad harvest, if they did not get proper yield, whether they are exempted from revenue payment. Okay, there may not be an exemption, but probably the amount of revenue which they are supposed to pay, that might be lesser. Okay, it might be a lesser amount. So this will cross verify. Okay, cross verify. When it comes to second one, under permanent settlement in Bengal, if the Zamindar failed to pay his revenues to the state on or before the fixed date, he would be removed from his Zamindari. So this is a bit difficult question, because traditionally in the book it is not available. So once the exam is over, many will update it. Okay, many will update it. Now already the information which we have, to that information we will add this extra information, because 2 is correct. So if Zamindar fails to collect and pay the taxes to the government on time, then he will be removed from the post of Zamindari. Okay, Zamindari. See here, this term Zamindari is very important. repeatedly, okay, not every alternative year, but every now and then they'll ask a question. So once they had compared about Zamindar and Jagirdar. Okay, so in this fashion they will frame the question. So Zamindari system, it was introduced in which period? Whether it existed in the ancient India, whether it existed in medieval India, for example in Delhi Sultanate, whether such kind of system existed in Mughal period, or the Zamindari system came into force only during the Britishers' rule. So these are the questions that you have to raise, because Zamindar is an important part. Now already we have read some of the things, we know, we have knowledge, but in order to address the questions which appear in the examination, every year there are some changes, So these are the various dimensions, these are the various angles in which we will think, and based on the question paper itself, we will update the content. Okay, we'll update the content. Now I have been able to raise only few questions. Now afterwards when I will be sitting, at that time few more questions might arise. Okay, out of curiosity. So again I will add. Okay, so whenever I will add, I will share it with you. But similarly, when you are sitting and when you are preparing, such questions should also arise in you. So whenever questions arise, you will try to find the answer and you will update the content. Okay, you will update the content. So here in this context, you will prepare what Zamindari system, you will prepare Raitwari system, and also you will prepare Malwari system. And based on the this question, whatever curiosity related questions that you can raise to yourself, you have to raise and try to find out a solution, and you have to update the content. Okay, update the content. Who was the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly before Dr. Rajendra Prasad took over? So, see, this question, it can be classified under political history, at the same time history also. Okay, history also. So this part we have learnt during the discussion of polity, especially which chapter? Making of the Constitution. After historical background, when we discussed about the making of the Constitution, so there we came across. Okay, there we came across. Who was the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly before Dr. Rajendra Prasad took over? So who was the provisional president? Yes? Dr. Sachindranath Sinha? Okay. See here, again a basic part. If you go through the content, it is definitely there. So you have to become perfect now. So what all things you will cover? So again, when it comes to making of Constitution, it's a very large topic. There are many entities. We are not expected to go through each and every line. So when it comes to Constituent Assembly, so Constituent Assembly, first time when did it meet? Constituent Assembly, first time when did it meet? In which year? I am not asking you a particular date. Yes, which year? 1946. Okay, 1946. Can you recall approximate month, if not date? December 9, 1946. Okay, so these things you should be able to recall. So Constituent Assembly, 1946. Okay, exact date might not be important, but you'll also add the date here. Now, Constituent Assembly was formed as a result of the Cripps mission. True or false? It was formed as a result of Cabinet mission. So when did Cabinet mission come to India? In which year? 46 itself or 45? Okay, see, there is a confusion. Again, you will cross verify. Whenever you will cross verify, so that information will become very intact and you will be able to retain that content for a very long period of time. Okay, as a result of Cabinet mission, what? Constituent Assembly was formed. So Cabinet mission is a keyword associated with Constituent Assembly. Okay, Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly consisted of only elected members. Okay, so there were elected members, and also apart from elected members, there were nominated members as well. Okay, nominated members as well. So nominated members came from where? Which kind of administrative units? Princely states. Whereas elected members, they came from provinces. Okay, provinces. Next, the people who came from the provinces, they were directly elected. The Constituent Assembly, the people who came from the provinces, whether they are directly elected or indirectly elected, they are indirectly elected by whom? Members of the Provincial Legislative Council. Okay, members of the Provincial Legislative Council. So those things you should be able to revise. So first time where they met. Okay, next, apart from that, who are the, see, they have mentioned about the various personalities. So whether C. Rajagopalachari was associated in any way with the Constituent Assembly? Who was the president of the Rajendra Prasad was the president of the Constituent Assembly. Now, the Constituent Assembly also performed the job of what? Parliament. Because at some point of time, for some period, they used to sit and they used to write the constitution. At some other point, they used to frame the law. So when they started writing constitution, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the what? Chairman or president. Next, during the normal law writing process, Malvankar. Yes, see, I am able to recall, so you should be able to recall in a much more confident way. So, see, so Constituent Assembly, opposite is when it is met as a parliament, who was the president? Okay, who was the president? Now, see, in the book there are so many committees. We cannot go through each and every committee, but the important committees, okay, one is drafting committee. So, in drafting committee, apart from the what chairman, we need to know about all the members as well. Who are the members of the drafting committee? You should be able to recall. Okay, you should be able to recall. When it comes to other committees, just few important committees. Okay, just we will focus on what? Who was the chairman? Okay, who was the chairman? So in the context of this, you will revise all those things. Okay, you revise all those things. So when this question appears, so what you have to do? You have to go back to making of the constitution. Making of the constitution, and you will not read line by line now. Now you will only read from the exam point of view. Okay, so in the examination we need to hit the bullseye. So whatever is required, that information we'll extract. Okay, we'll extract and we'll focus on that. Okay, we'll focus on that. So that T.T. Krishnamachari was associated with Constituent Assembly. Yes. So how do you remember the name of T.T. Krishnamachari? He is a member of the drafting committee. Okay, he was a member of the drafting committee. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was chairman of the drafting committee. Okay, so why is C. Rajgopalachari known as? First, yes, you are right. First Governor General of Independent India. So, who was the last Governor General of British? Who was the first, last Governor General of India? Who was a British person? Mountbatten. So, after that, C. Rajgopalachari was the first Indian. Okay, first Indian. Okay, next here answer is Dr. Sachidanand Sinha. Okay, so Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, he became the president of the Constituent Assembly. Whether based on election, based on a convention. Okay, based on the convention of which country that we followed the system? Yes, it is France. Okay, based on France. So all these things we'll revise. Okay, we'll revise. Next, consider the following pairs. Okay, consider the following pairs. Now, in the end, we have a list of organizations and founders. So previously, few of the content was missing, but now I have updated it. Okay, I updated it. If you go through that list, then such kind of questions we should be able to answer. And also, if you look general curiosity point of view, so now we have BJP. So the origin of BJP took place through Bharatiya Janasangha. Okay, Janasangha. So who is associated with Janasangha? Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. Okay, Mukherjee. And the other party, Swatantra Party and Congress for Democracy. Okay, so Swatantra Party is associated by C. Rajgopalachari. Next, Socialist Party, Acharya Narendra Dev. Next, Congress for Democracy, Jagjeevan Ram. So here what you will do? Bharatiya Janasangha. Apart from Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, who are the personalities associated? Okay, so just one or two important personalities are associated. So you'll just add them here. Next, Socialist Party. Apart from Acharya Narendra Dev, who are the personalities associated? Yes, Ram Manohar Lohia. Yes, Jai Prakash Narayan. So what you will do? You will add that content here. Okay, we'll add that content here. Next, Congress for Democracy, Jagjeevan Ram we have. Swatantra Party, C. Rajgopalachari. See here, in these cases also, you need not know about all the entities. For example, the famous is Socialist Party. It appears in the book, multiple times it has appeared. So, the Socialist Party personalities associated are Acharya Narendra Dev. So, if this pair has been clubbed with Swatantra Party, okay, so this is also wrong. Obviously, this is also wrong. So, we should be able to eliminate 2. Okay, eliminate 2. Okay. So, now what we will do? Based on this, whatever information is required, you will prepare, and simultaneously the list of organizations and founders. Okay, there is a long list of around 80 to 90. Okay, so in one single day it is not possible, but at least daily if you set a target of 10 to 20. Okay, so then gradually over a period of time that will become your integral part, and here you are not expected to recall. If you are able to identify also, it is sufficient. Okay, sufficient, but recall will just help you to what that identification process easier. Okay, identification process easier. So you will complete the process of organizations and founders. Okay, founders. What's the answer here? Only two. So with reference to the Indian history, Alexander H. Longhurst, Robert Sewell, James Birch and Walter Elliot were associated with? What's the answer? Archaeological excavations? Archaeological excavations, I guess. Okay. So here we come across personalities, but many times we ignore them. Now see, it is a 2023 question. So there are chances. Again, we need not make a list of all the archaeologists of from historical times. Okay, we need not make a list. But when we are going through our notes itself, if we are able to focus on the names, so whether he is an archaeologist, whether he is a painter, whether he is a musician in that sense, so that would be sufficient. Okay, that would be sufficient. And also you need not know about all of them. Okay, now some of them might be famous, others might not be famous. If you are able to connect even one personality also, that would be sufficient. Okay, that would be sufficient. Next, here out of curiosity, what you can do is establishment of English press in colonial India. Okay, so they were never asked a question. Okay, in the recent past, in the past 15 years, they never asked a question on the press, means who started which newspaper and all. But if you look here, establishment of English press in colonial India. So this should arouse your curiosity. So probably in 2026, they may ask a question. So which was the first press in India that was established and who established it? So you can add the content. And in the last compilation, I have shared the newspaper as well as the personalities associated with them. So there you need not go exhaustively through each and every newspaper. Okay, especially the newspaper which were started by Britishers, will not focus on them. There we shall only focus on the first newspaper which started in India by whom, which Britisher. But when it comes to Indian leaders who have started the newspaper, so there we shall focus. Okay, which new Indian newspaper was started by whom. And apart from that, during the freedom of press topic which we have discussed, so we have come across many newspapers, right? So those newspapers and founders, we shall retain the content. So which are the famous newspapers? Can you recall one or two? Yes. Hindu, Kesari, Maharatha. Next. Okay, very important, Amrita Bazar Patrika, because overnight it what got converted from Bengal to English daily. Okay, English daily. So the newspapers which have been listed in that topic will give a higher priority to it. At the end, whatever the compilation I have made, so in that compilation you will only focus on the newspapers started by Indians, and there are few newspapers which have also been started by the Britishers. In that context, you will only focus on which newspaper was started first in India and by whom. You need not go through the entire exhaustive list. Okay, exhaustive list. So similarly, establishment of churches in princely states, not important. Okay, not important. Maximum what you can do is, so in which century was the first church established in India? So again, I don't think so they can go to that extent. We just leave it. Construction of railways in colonial India, important. So which was the first railway line laid in India? Between which 2 points? Okay, so who was the viceroy? So those things we'll add. First railway, points connecting. Next, who was the viceroy at that time? Okay, at that time. In this fashion, you will update the content. Okay, in the question paper itself. So at the time of examination, you will repeatedly revise the same content. Okay, revise the same content. Okay, so now this question, it lies in the transition of what medieval history to what modern history. Okay, modern history. So with reference to Indian history, consider the following statements. The Dutch established their factories, warehouses on the east coast on the lands granted to them by Gajapati rulers. Okay, rulers. Alfonso de Albuquerque captured Goa from the Bijapur Sultanate. The English East India Company established a factory at Madras on a plot of land leased from a representative of the Vidyagiri Empire. Okay, so here we already know about the answer, but the strategy is important. What UPSC is expecting. Okay, if you compare the last few year question papers, repeatedly the theme is same. So which foreigner took which territory of India? And when he took a territory of India, from whom he took? Okay, from which ruler he got, whether he got through war or it was voluntarily given by some king. So this is the what focal area of UPSC. Now when you are going through the content of ancient and medieval history, now in the end moment you cannot go through each and every line. I think so whether I have made a compilation of this also at the end, somewhere I have made a compilation. There I have focused on what, which foreigner, okay, which territory, who gave it, okay, who gave it. So from that perspective we shall go through the content rather than going through each and every line of ancient and medieval history. So that focus, that focal information is very important, okay, very important. Now here this question, if you go through Tamil Nadu what summary page, okay, so what I have done is in the notes of ancient and medieval history, apart from the notes I also included the summary of every topic. Even though I have copy pasted it, but I included in the notes, because in the end moment, even if you are not able to go through each and every line of the notes, if you are able to go through the summary also, okay, at least one question if you are able to answer, then the cost benefit ratio I will call it as very high, okay, because the amount of time required to go through the summary is hardly 1 hour. So in that 1 hour, if you are able to what, because of that 1 hour of time, if you are able to answer even one question, then I consider that the cost benefit ratio is very high, okay, high. The Dutch established their factory warehouse on the east coast on the lands granted to them by Gajapati rulers. Okay, Gajapati rulers. So in the notes it has been very clearly mentioned. So Dutch, they got land from whom? Yes. Chavans? No, Chavans will nowhere come into this picture. Okay. So again, they were given land by whom? By Vijayanagara dynasty representatives themselves. Yes. They are given by Nayaks. Okay, so what you will do, you just go through the content today. Okay, you just go through the content. Which content? The coming of Europeans. The coming of Europeans, you need not go through each and every line. You just fast scan it, you will understand. Okay, there I have explicitly mentioned. Okay, mentioned that from whom they got the land. Okay, from whom they got the land. Alfonso de Albuquerque. Okay, he is from which country? Portuguese. So whether he is the first European to come to India? Who was the first European to come to India? Vasco da Gama. In which year he came? 1498. So Alfonso de Albuquerque, who was he? He was a viceroy of what? Okay, so he was a Portuguese representative in India. So whether he was the first viceroy, second viceroy? Second. But he is called as the what? Real expander. Okay, real expander. Hence, when it comes to what? Portuguese, Albuquerque is a very important personality. Okay, very important personality. So he captured Goa. Yes. From whom? Yes. From whom he captured? From Vijayanagara Samrajya he took, or from Delhi Sultans, or from Bijapur Sultans? From Bijapur Sultans. So this second statement is correct. Correct. The English East India Company established a factory at Madras on a plot of land leased from a representative of the Vijayanagara Empire. Okay, so here Nayak kings, you will go through the content. Okay, so Nayak kings, who are they? They are representative of Vijayanagara Empire. So they gave the land to East India Company. So what answer is? Both 2 and 3 should be part of the answer. But here the Dutch established, no, they did not get land from Gajapati. Then who gave them? Who gave the land? Yes, Nayaks of what? Tanjavur? Senji, S-E-N-J, Senji. Okay, now what you will do? To this question here itself will add. So Nayaks of Senji. So who are Nayaks of Senji? Again, representatives of Vijayanagara Empire. This has been very clearly mentioned in the what? Summary page. Okay. So in the end moment, if you are not able to go through the entire content, at least you should go through the summary. Okay, summary. Now this question should arouse your curiosity. What is it? Curiosity? The Dutch established their factories, warehouses on the east coast on the lands granted to them by Gajapati rulers. Okay, Gajapati rulers. So curiosity is that where was the first factory of Dutch established in India? Whether it was in the east coast or at some other place. Okay, so now what you will do? Where was the first factory established? So in this context, factory means even a trading platform. A trading area is also called as platform. What? A factory. So where was the first factory established in India? By Dutch. Where was the first factory established in India? By Portuguese. Okay, which are the other, who are the other Europeans? Dutch is there. Next, Portuguese. Next, French, English. Next, Danes. So for all of them, what you will do? First, where did they establish? Okay, which was the first place in India to establish? Next, who gave them land or who gave them permission? Who gave them permission? So based on this first option, this is a curiosity driven content. Okay, some things you can find in our notes, or even if you are not able to locate in the notes also, you will explore in the internet and you will add it here. Okay, we'll add it here. Now before this we need to know the arrival sequence of Europeans. So who are the first Europeans to come to India? Portuguese after Portuguese, Dutch after Dutch, French after French, Danes, then English. Okay, so they are coming in this order. Similarly, when it comes to leaving of India, who first left India? Dutch. Next, who are the last to leave India? Okay, Portuguese. Which was the last territory which they left? Goa. See here in the third option, second option we have Goa. Alfonso de Albuquerque captured Goa from Bijapur Sultanate in which year? See here, year is also important. In 1510. In 1510. So Goa became part of Portuguese. So when did it become again back a part of India? 1961 or 62. So again it became part of India in 1961 or 62. Okay. So when did Goa attain statehood? When initially Goa became part of India, whether it was a state or it was a union territory? It was union territory. So when it was elevated to state. See, one question, different perspectives. These are the various dimensions that we'll think. Okay, because we have discussed a topic called as union and its territory in polity, but there for each and every state, retaining the information pertaining to year will be difficult. It will be practically impossible. And if you look at the previous year questions, they repeatedly focus on Goa. Probably that is the reason, because Goa was the first Indian territory to be captured by Europeans, and the Europeans were Portuguese. Okay, the Europeans were Portuguese. Next, sometimes they will focus like this: whether for the entire duration of the European rule in India, including Britishers, whether Goa was only under the control of Portuguese or also it was under the control of other Europeans as well. See, thought process in a different direction. That is what it expects, because content everyone has, but UPSC thinks in a different direction. Whether for the entire duration Goa was under the control of Portuguese, or at some point of time Goa was under the control of some other Europeans like French or English or Dutch or Danes. Okay, this is what we'll focus. Okay, this is what we'll focus. So for this, using this question as an option, we will focus on your French, English, all of them will focus. But when it comes to English, we'll focus more. When it comes to Britishers, we'll focus more. What is that more focus? First, we'll focus, apart from the first, where did they establish in the East Coast? Where did they establish in the West Coast? Because when it comes to rule of Europeans, so majorly India was ruled by what? Britishers. Okay, Britishers. So among these various entities, we'll accord a higher priority to Britishers. Okay, Britishers. So these questions should help to build that content. Okay, build that content. Next, the English East India Company established a factory at Madras on a plot of land leased from representative of Vidyagiri Empire. You can just find out who was the representative, which Vidyagiri Nayak gave the land. Okay, gave the land or permission. Okay, permission. So here the answer is 2 and 3 only. So next, out of curiosity, Gajapati rulers. So they ruled from which place of India? They ruled from Odisha. Okay, Odisha. So Gajapati dynasty, it reigned from which century to which century? It reigned from which century to which century? Just out of curiosity. Now Vijayanagara dynasty, we know about Vijayanagara dynasty, right? So Vijayanagara dynasty, it reigned from which century to which century? 14 to 16. Okay, 14 to 16. When Albuquerque was capturing Goa from Bijapur Sultans, who was the Vijayanagara emperor? Yes, Krishnadevaraya. So Krishnadevaraya is a very important ruler. So it comes to Krishnadevaraya, we will focus on specific years because it will help us. From which year to which year Krishnadevaraya was a ruler? Yes, 1509 to 1531. So when it comes to Vijayanagara, the famous king is Krishnadevaraya. 1509 to 31 or 29, you can just verify it. Means just I am trying to connect the things, because you cannot go through each and every content. When it comes to Vijayanagara, again it's an important dynasty, and from exam point of view also they will focus. Who was the greatest Vijayanagara ruler? Krishnadevaraya. Second, Devaraya 2 or Devaraya 1? Devaraya 2. Devaraya 2 belong to which Vijayanagara sub-dynasty? Which are the 4 dynasties? Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, Aravidu. Okay. Krishna Devaraya belong to Tuluva. Next, Devaraya 2? Sangama. Okay. So just out of curiosity, again, you will what? Revise those things as well. So next, again, a very important question. With reference to Indian history, which of the following statements is correct? The Nijamat of Arcot emerged out of Hyderabad state. The Mysore kingdom emerged out of Vijayanagara empire. Rohilkhand kingdom was formed out of the territories occupied by Ahmad Shah Durrani. Okay. So see here, the nature of questions are continuously changing, but the theme will remain the same. If you go to a few previous year questions also, there are similar kind of questions, but the nature of questions have changed. Okay. So now, if you look at these options, we already discussed what UPSC focuses is the decline of the dynasty and the emergence of new dynasty. So after the decline of Mauryans, who came? Who was the Mauryans were defeated by whom? Shakas or Shungas? Shungas. Okay, after Mauryans will come Shungas. Similarly, in the context of Guptas we have seen. So after the decline of the Guptas, before the rise of Harshavardhana, there were some regional dynasties which became strong. Which are they? Yadavas, they will come in the 12th century. Maitrakas of Vallabhi, Maukaris of Kanauj, right? Guptas of Magadha. So we have already seen. So similarly, in that context, they have framed this question. Means once a dynasty becomes weak, so which are the regional dynasties that will become strong? Okay, that will become strong. And here also they will focus on important dynasties. Okay, very very important dynasties. But by looking at the question, we cannot come to a conclusion that they were asked on this aspect. But when you search, and it has not been mentioned in other books. Okay, other books, but in Tamil Nadu it has been very clearly mentioned. So also in the notes also it is present. So this Nijamat of Arcot is associated with the decline of which dynasty? It is associated with the decline of Mughals. Okay, once the Mughals declined, there were some regional dynasties which became powerful, and among those dynasties, Nijamat of Arcot is one of them. So from this we can conclude. But if you search in the internet, some of them will consider this as true, but nowhere in the book will come to know this. But through this Tamil Nadu and also in our notes, we'll get to know that Nijamat of Arcot, it emerged out of Mughals. Okay, once the Mughals, they became weak, it disintegrated. So smaller dynasties, they became powerful, and one is Nijamat of Arcot. Okay, Nijamat of Arcot. So the first statement is false. Okay, false. When it comes to Arcot, so what is Arcot? Which region is called as Arcot? Who was Nijam of Arcot? So we have come across a region called as Carnatic. Yes. So Carnatic region. So the Carnatic region's king was Nijam of Arcot. So present day, the Carnatic region, it spreads across which all states of India? Only Karnataka? Or Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala as well? Okay. See here, you will focus on Arcot, you will focus on Carnatic region. Okay. So the person who was ruling this Carnatic was called as Nijam of Arcot. Okay, Nijam of Arcot. So the first statement is false. When you eliminate one, see, look at the options. So it's a 2021 question. Okay, 2021 question. So every year the pattern is slightly changing. In fact, 2024 and 25 are relatively easy. Okay, relatively easy. If you look at the previous year, what trend and all. So the Mysuru kingdom emerged out of Vijayanagara empire. Okay, in the book also it has been mentioned, and also in the end, whatever I have compiled, in that compilation also it is present. So the Mysuru kingdom emerged out of Vijayanagara. Now, out of curiosity, Vijayanagara emerged out of whom? Hoysala. So Vijayanagara Samrajya, they were what? Feudatories. They were working under the Hoysalas. So you'll connect. So you'll connect Hoysalas. Okay, Hoysalas. So Vijayanagara, which century to which century? 14 to 16. Next, Hoysalas. 10 to 14. Who was the founder of Hoysala dynasty? Founder of Hoysala dynasty. Founder of Vijayanagara Samrajya. So these things will revise. Now again, coming to this, what Nijamat of Arcot. Before this we have Mughal. Okay. So when was the Mughal dynasty established? Through which battle? Battle of Panipat. Which battle of Panipat? Third battle of Panipat. Again, I am able to recall that dialogue of what Apta Mitra. Okay. Because a very important event. First battle of Panipat. Which year? 1526. Means at least the surrounding things we should be able to recall. Right. So 1526 first battle of Panipat. Who defeated whom? Baba defeated Ibrahim Lodi. Okay, Ibrahim Lodi. Next, coming to third part. So, can you tell me this third question might be associated with which important event? No. It is associated with the third battle of Panipat. Because the Ahmad Shah, what? Durrani. So, in the third battle of Panipat, it was fought between whom? Ahmad Shah Durrani and the Maratha. Okay, and the Marathas were severely routed. Okay, they were defeated. Okay, defeated. And in this fight, the Rohilkhand kingdom, Rohillas, they supported whom? They supported Ahmad Shah Durrani. He is also called as Ahmad Shah Abdali. Okay, both of them are same. So here, even though they are not mentioned about the name, but they are expecting us to have a basic information of what? Third battle of Panipat. Okay, third battle of Panipat. You have even if you have one line of information, 2 to 3 lines of information about third battle of Panipat, so you will be able to come to a conclusion that the third statement is wrong. Because in the third battle of Panipat, it was fought between Ahmad Shah Durrani and Marathas. Marathas were defeated, and Rohillas, they supported Ahmad Shah Durrani. And Ahmad Shah Durrani, he is forming a territory by occupying the Rohilkhand. It will be completely wrong. Okay, it will be completely wrong. So here, third one is wrong. Answer is 2 only. Okay, 2 only. See here. Now, there are so many battles. So, probably we will be discussing about the just list of battles itself. So, UPSC will focus not on all the small battles. It will focus on important battles where great change has taken place. So, it may ask on what? It may focus on first battle of Panipat. It may focus on second battle of Panipat because it is associated with Akbar. And it will focus on the third battle of Panipat because in third battle of Panipat, Marathas were defeated very severely. Okay, very severely. In that fashion, it will focus on very important battles. Now, in some other battles, so all the battles will not be important. Only first battle will be important. Second and third will not be important. So, in that fashion, when it comes to battles, we are not interested in all the detailed aspects. Just 2 to 3 lines of information would be sufficient. It would be sufficient. But when it comes to books and other standard materials, there is a lot of discussion. Every line to line, it is like a cricket commentary. Okay, whatever they have done, line to line, they will explain. But as an UPSC aspirant, we want to become jack of all the subjects, practically it is impossible for us to retain the information pertaining to each and every personality. Okay, personality. Again, that strategy also we shall discuss later on. Here the answer is only 2. 1 is wrong, 3 is wrong. So in this context, what you will do? You will revise the entire content which I have compiled at the last. What is that? The decline of empire. Next to emergence of empire. And if some dynasty is missing, what you can do? You can again search the information and you can update the content. Okay, you can update the content. Okay. So 21st February is declared to be the International Mother Language Day by UNICEF. The demand that Bangla has to be one of the national languages was raised in the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan. Okay, so this is such kind of questions. They are called as miscellaneous questions. From how they have framed question, it will be difficult for us to identify. But generally, I will consider this question as part of current affairs. Okay, because somewhere a newspaper article might have appeared, which we might have not read and all. And UNICEF is also involved. So it's a miscellaneous question associated with current affairs as well as some historical part. Here, I think both the options are right. What's the answer? Just to search the answer, I think both of them are right. I think it is not UNICEF. Sorry, it's not UNICEF, it is UNESCO, I guess. I think 2 is right. Just search it once. Because UNICEF is associated with what? Children's Emergency Fund. So when it comes to cultural and educational aspects, which organization deals with it? UNESCO. Okay, UNESCO. What's the answer? 2 only? Okay. So these questions are a bit tough, but using general logic, UNICEF, okay, mother language means it's a cultural associated day. So probably you can eliminate it. Okay, you can eliminate it. But the demand that Bangla has to be made one of the national language was raised in the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan. So here, declaration of International Mother Language Day as 21st February. So whether 21st February is declared as the International Mother Language Day? Whether it's correct? Okay. Now there is a link between this day and Bangladesh. So Bangla language, to make the Bangla as an official language in Pakistan, they fought a lot. Because of that, some special occasion is associated with 21st February. Hence UNESCO declared this day as a International Mother Language Day. So to declare 21st February is International Mother Language Day. There is a relationship with the fight which took place in Pakistan for declaring Bangla language as a official language or something. So there is a link. They are not totally strange, different statements. Both of them are linked. Okay, both of them are linked. So the struggle which took place in Pakistan is associated with what? International Mother Language Day. Okay. So here Pakistan means before 1971. So it was East Pakistan and West Pakistan. So after 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, so East Pakistan became Bangladesh. Okay, Bangladesh. So sometimes such questions, if you do not have any idea, then what? They may go wrong. Okay, they may go wrong. Next, consider the following statements. The Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919 recommended granting voting rights to all the women above the age of 21. The Government of India Act of 1935 gave women reserved seats in legislature. Okay. So again, this question is a bit tough, I'll say. Those who have read too much, for them it will be tough. So first time those who are appearing, it will be very easy question. Okay. So, but very easy only if they have at least gone through the Montagu-Morley reforms and Government of India Act 1935. So why it is tough? The first statement, can we easily eliminate it? Yes. So Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919. So can you quickly recall the provisions of Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919? Bicameralism was established at the provinces or at the center? Center. Okay, no, not provinces. At the center, bicameralism was established. Okay, 2 houses. Next. Yes. So direct election kind of term was used. So if you can recall, in the normal classes we had discussed with the help of a story and mnemonics how we can correct the things. Okay, at that time that story did not have much relevance, but now it will be very beneficial for us to recall. So what are the important provisions? I had mentioned, right? So there was a court case. I'll come out of the court. My 3 die-hard lawyers commissioned a case for me. All those things we discussed. A mnemonic story that we had discussed. So diarchy was introduced to which act? 1919. Diarchy was introduced where? At the center or at the provinces? At the provinces. So what is diarchy? Division of central subject into reserved and transferred. Yes or no? Division of which subjects? Central subject or state subjects? State subject into transferred and reserved. Okay. So reserved subjects, who can make laws? Responsible ministers or non-responsible governor? Okay, governor. Reserved subjects. On transfer subjects, they can make law, means they should be responsible to the legislature. So diarchy is one of the feature of 1919. Next feature, the other features. Bicameralism over, direct elections were introduced. Next, separate electorate for Muslim was introduced. For whom? Separate electorate for case, Christians, Anglo-Indians, Sikhs, Europeans was established. Next, Secretary of State for India was established? No. Then when was Secretary of State for India established? 1858. Okay. Next, High Commission for India was established? High Commission for India was established or not? Okay, you have to go through this. See, you are getting confused. 1919, every provision, at least that keyword, if you are able to recall, then you will be able to recall the entire provisions. See, 1909, 1919, 1935. So these acts are very important. You cannot compromise. Okay, you cannot compromise. So we got to know that the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms, voting rights to all women. No, women rights were not given in 1919. Okay, so voting rights were given to what? Just a separate electorate was there, right? So here in case of 1919, whether the voting rights were extended. Yes. So extended, whether all were eligible to vote as per the 1919 Act. No. Based on what factors they could vote? Property and education. They were they were given the rights of voting. Okay, rights of voting. Now it comes to second statement. So first one is wrong. The Government of India Act 1935 gave women reserved seats in legislature. So why this is confusing? Because in Lakshmikant, they have made a statement like 1935 gave a separate separate electorate for whom? Women. Next, who are the others? Labor class, depressed classes. Okay, depressed classes. So in 1935, Lakshmikant you have mentioned that a separate electorate provision was made for women, okay, depressed classes and laborers. Now, if you take it at the face value, separate electorate, whether separate electorate and reservation, both of them are same or different? They are different, because in separate electorate, if we take Muslim separate electorate of 1909, only Muslims will contest and only Muslims will vote. But in case of reservation, it will be a joint electorate. A person will contest and all will vote. Okay, so here when you overthink, then you think that reservation seats, this statement is wrong. When you overthink based on Lakshmikant. But if you read the original 1935, after this examination, when I went to the original 1935 Act, so there they mentioned the provision of reservation. Okay, provision of reservation. So hence this statement is correct. The Government of India Act of 1935 gave women reserved seats in legislature. Okay, so in the examination, if they mention about reserved seats, that will also be correct. But based on the static Lakshmikant that we have read, separate electorate, that will also be correct. So here we will not overthink. Okay, will not overthink. So 1935, it gave reservation of seats to women, to depressed classes as well as labor. Okay, labor. So these are the provisions of 1935. So apart from these, which are the other provisions of 1935 Act? Yes, division of powers into how many lists? 3 lists. Next, residue was given to whom? Governor General. Presently, residue exists with whom? Union Council of Ministers or Parliament? Parliament. Okay. Next, which are the other important features of Government of India Act 1935? Yes. Federal Court was established. Okay. Federal Court was established. Next, RBI was established. Yes. Diarchiad Center was established. How about the Diarchiad provinces? Abolished. Okay. So now what you will do today, you will go back. At least if you are not able to do the other acts like PITs and all those things, at least you will prepare these 3. Morley Minto reforms of 1909, Montagu Chelmsford reforms of 1919, Government of India Act 1935 and Indian Independence Act 1947. Okay. Because these are 4 important acts. Yes or no? How about Indian Independence Act 1947, whether it is important or not? They have never asked a single question on that, so you are going to completely skip it. Indian Independence Act 1947 is not important, but you will go through the provisions and you will become perfect. See, when it comes to 1909, 1919 and 1935, I will not expect you to identify, I will expect you to recall. Only if you are able to recall, then the examination hall you will be able to confidently identify. Okay, identify. So at least you do this exercise today. Okay, so 1909, 1919 and 1935. So here the answer is 2 only. Okay, 2 only. So who among the following was associated as a secretary with the Hindu female school, which later came to be known as Bethune female school? Okay, very important, because this question has appeared at least 2 to 3 times. The same Hindu school. Okay, so Hindu female school came to be known as Bethune female school. So who is the personality associated? Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Okay, so repeated, it has actually 2 to 3 times the question has repeated, so very important. Okay, so probably associated with the empowerment of women. So whenever any government scheme or anything that is associated with the empowerment of women, so UPSC will focus on those areas. Okay, those areas from the historical context, very important. So Hindu female school, Bethune female school, associated personalities, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Apart from this, what we will search is, when did it start, in which year, who started it? Because here Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was associated as a secretary. Then who started it? Okay, so Bethune. So Bethune is an important personality associated with it. Okay, so you will revise the content. Hindu female school, what? Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, and all you will prepare. Okay, you will prepare. Next, apart from the preparation, we will also focus on the options. Annie Besant. So Annie Besant is a famous personality associated with which all events? Will you be able to connect? Yes, Home Rule League movement, right? Home Rule League movement. Next, she played an important role in the merger of moderates and extremists. So she came from which country? Okay, she came from other country and she established a Theosophical Society in India. Theosophical Society, did she not establish? Then she worked for that society? Yes, then who established Theosophical Society? Blavatsky. Okay, Blavatsky. So where is the headquarters of Theosophical Society located? Adyar. So all this information is important. When it comes to Annie Besant, at least some important information at the superficial level, we should be able to connect. Okay, we should be able to connect. So Annie Besant. Apart from that, Annie Besant was the first woman to preside the Indian National Congress session in 1916. 1917. It was held at Madras. Held at Calcutta. Okay. Next, Sarojini Naidu. See here, both the figures they have mentioned. So Sarojini Naidu. So Sarojini Naidu, 1925. Which session? Kanpur session. Sarojini Naidu is famously associated with which movement? Swadeshi, non-cooperation, civil, quit India. Yes. Civil disobedience movement. As part of the civil disobedience movement, there was one more small movement. Which is that movement called as? Darasana Salt Satyagraha. Okay, Darasana Salt Satyagraha was led by whom? Sarojini Naidu. Who are the other personalities? Imam Sahib. And next? Yes. Son of Gandhiji. Manilal. Okay. So there we have seen in the context of civil disobedience movement. So all those things we should be able to connect. Just out of curiosity, which is a famous book written by Sarojini Naidu? Only if you have time. See, in multiple rounds, every time you go through the question paper, you cannot read the same content, you require different content. So what you will do? We'll add extra information. Next, which was a famous book, if any, written by Annie Besant. You'll just note down write one or two books. Okay. Next, Debendranath Tagore, associated with which organization? Debendranath Tagore is famously associated with a reform organization. Whether Brahma Samaj, Pratna Samaj, Arya Samaj. Yes. You'll search it. Okay, you'll search it and you'll add the information. Okay, we'll add the information. So you'll focus on Hindu female school, Betune female school, year of establishment, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar is famously associated with what? Widow marriage. Next, indigo cultivation in India declined by the beginning of the 20th century because of peasant resistance to the oppressive conduct of planters. Its unprofitability in the world market because of new inventions. National leaders' opposition to the cultivation of indigo. Government control over the planters. What's the answer? Indigo cultivation in India declined by the beginning of the 20th century. Peasant resistance to the oppressive conduct of planters. Its unprofitability in the world market because of B. I think it is just verified. I think it's 1. Official answer key is B, because here both of them they appear correct. Peasants resistance to the oppressive conduct of planters in the 20th century. Okay, so there was a revolt in 20th century which was a famous revolt. At the beginning of the 20th century. At the beginning of the 20th century, so even Champaran Satyagraha can be considered as part of beginning of the 20th century itself. Okay, so answer is B. Official answer is B. Then we should be very much careful here. Peasant resistance to the oppressive conduct of planters. Okay, because Teen Katya system will also come into picture here. Next, its unprofitability in the world market because of new inventions. So this is also right, because new inventions were brought in the market and there was less demand for indigo. That is also right. National leaders' opposition to cultivation of indigo, not important. Government control over the planters, not important. Indigo cultivation in India declined by the beginning of the 20th century because of its unprofitability in the world market because of new inventions. Peasants resistance to the oppressive conduct of planters. Okay, so here you just take it as B, but in the examination it will cause confusion. Okay, it will cause confusion because you have read so many things. So one thing that we have learnt, so that will interfere with the others. Okay, that will interfere with the others. So here answer is 2. Okay. Next, Wellesley established the Fort William College at Calcutta because of. Okay, because of. So here directly answer is not available even in our content also. But this content I have compiled from Spectrum. So at the end I have added topic called as development of education in India. Okay, development of education in India. So again the topic is very important. So which organization was established by whom at which place. So all that information is there. You can go through it. So Wellesley established the Fort William College at Calcutta. In 2020, I think before 2020, 19 or 18, somewhere, what they have asked is, they have given a match the following type of question. Means who established Fort William College at Calcutta? But now they have changed the nature of question. Okay, nature of question. Which I will just go through the options. He was asked by the board of directors at the London to do so. He wanted to revive interest in the Oriental learning in India. He wanted to provide William Carey and his associates employment. He wanted to train British civilians for administrative purposes in India. Okay. So which are the things which we can eliminate here? Yes, C will easily eliminate. Next, which option will eliminate? B. Okay, he wanted to revive interest in the Oriental learning in India. Okay, they were not interested in what reviving Oriental means, the Eastern learning. Okay, so traditional learning. Okay, they are not interested. Now we are left with only two choices. He was asked by the board of directors at London to do so. Next, he wanted to train British civilians for administrative purpose in India. So generally, when it comes to Indian education, they focused on what? Administration. So that administration will become easier. Okay, administration will become easier. So I think fourth one is the answer. Officially, what is the answer? Just check it once. Fourth one. Fourth one. Okay. So he wanted to train British civilians for administrative purposes in India. So now in this context, what you have to do is you have to prepare the chapter called as Development of Education in India. Okay, Development of Education in India. So there we come across various developments. Okay, Hunter Commission. Next, Wood's Dispatch. So that sequence. So all that information you have to revise once. Okay, revise once. Okay. So which of the following statements correctly explain the impact of Industrial Revolution on India during the first half of the 19th century? Okay. So Indian handicrafts were ruined. Machines were introduced in the Indian textile industry in large number. Railway lines were laid in many parts of the country. Heavy duties were imposed on the imports of British manufacturers. Okay. So here very obviously, what is the answer here? If you look at the fourth statement, heavy duties were imposed on the imports of British manufacturers. Okay. So there were less taxes imposed for them. So it can be connected to which topic? Economic critique of colonialism in India. Okay, that is a topic where we can link. So there we have seen that Britishers, they used to charge heavy taxes for the Indian exports to Britain, but the Britain imports that we used to have in India, so they were charged less taxes. So trade was favorable to them. Okay, favorable to them. So hence fourth one is false. And whenever they mention about a positive statement, so that will be wrong. So railway line. Okay, so railway line, it was laid in India. So whether it benefited India? Okay, from the common point of view, yes, we may think that it has benefited. So because of this railway line itself, Chaya Chaya song was shooted. Okay, otherwise no. Okay, but from the exam point of view, whenever a positive statement, British's policies, if it makes a positive impact on India, then that will be false. So this will be false. Next, machines were introduced. Yes, no doubt machines might have introduced, but we'll consider it as what? Non-beneficial. It was a threat to India. So even second was also wrong. Here Indian handicrafts were ruined. Okay, ruined. So this is the answer. So what's time? Okay, we'll complete till 20 and we shall close today. Okay. The Vidyagiri, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by. Okay. So already we know about the answer. Okay, because we already gone through the. Okay, it's Gopal Baba Walankar. But here, if you look here, they are focused on untouchable people, means depressed classes. So UPSC, it always focused on such aspects, women, depressed classes. So in that context, before the examination, it will be very difficult for us to search and compile all such kind of information, but already we have. So the first such monthly journal to have untouchable people as its target audience was what? Vidyagiri, and it was written by Gopal Baba Walankar. Okay, Walankar. Now, if you look at the options, okay, options. So all of them, they have worked for the upliftment of the what? Downtrodden. So whether Jyotiba Phule have worked? Yes. So which is the organization? Satyashodak Sabha. In which year? Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Okay. Which are the organizations or initiatives by Gandhiji in the context of untouchables? Harijan movement. Next. All India Anti-Untouchability League. So those things you will recall and you will write it here. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. Okay. So there are various, just now you recalled, right, the important initiatives. So all those initiatives you should be able to recall. So here in the examination, again it may not work always. So whenever there are three famous personalities mentioned and one personality about whom we are less aware. okay, less aware. So in the examination hall, if we have no other option, what we'll do, we'll take a stand and we'll mark it as what? Correct. Okay. And sometimes it may backfire also, but when we are going into the battlefield, we should be ready. Okay, we should be ready, and what we'll remove all those things and we'll just mark it as Gopal Baba Walankar. Now in the examination, if there are 3 personalities, and the first personality is what? For example, Narayan Guru. Narayan Guru. Let's assume a similar kind of question. Now what will be the answer? Yes, here the answer will be Gandhiji. Okay, so among the 4 prominent personalities, if one personality is Gandhiji, it will be Gandhiji. Among the 4 personalities, if 3 are prominent and one is not that prominent, then he will be the answer. So these are some of the logics. Again, they may not always work. Okay, but at least we shall take few of these weapons in there and carry it to the examination hall as well. Okay. With reference to land reforms in the independent India, which one of the following statements is correct? So the sealing laws were aimed at family holdings and not individual holdings. The major aim of land reforms was providing agricultural land to all the landless. It resulted in the cultivation of cash crops as a predominant form of cultivation. Land reforms permitted no exemptions to the sealing limits. Okay, so this question is bit tough. What's the option here? What's the answer here? What is the official answer? Just go through it once. Okay, C will be wrong. Okay, we will eliminate the C. So land reforms in independent India. Which one of they are focused on what? Post-independent. Okay, post-independent. Which of the following statements is correct? D. B for ball. Okay. The major aim of the land reforms was providing agricultural land to all the landless. Okay. You just take this and just retain the content. Okay. Will not go beyond that. Next, consider the following statements about the Charter Act of 1813. Okay, Charter Act of 1813. So it ended the trade monopoly of East India Company in India except for the trade in tea and trade with China. Okay, so here again 1813 Act also they are asked multiple times. Again among the various acts, 1813 also enjoys higher priority. We will prepare 1813. Okay, 1813. So first one is correct. It asserted the sovereignty of the British Crown over the Indian territories held by the company. Second one is false because second one it took place through which act? 1858. Second one is associated with 1858. So first one should be part of the answer, but 2 should not be part of the answer. So it's only one option, that is 1 and 3. Okay, 1 and 3. So the revenues of the India were now controlled by the, I made a mistake I guess.
Sovereignty except tea and
So British Crown over the Indian territory. Okay, correct. This is what verbatim statement is present in Lakshmikant itself. So till 1813, what the British stand was different, but they said that from now onwards you are going to hold the territory in the name of the crown. Okay, in the name of the crown. So second statement is correct. Actually, the third one is wrong. The revenues of India were now controlled by the British Parliament. No, the revenues of the India were not controlled by British Parliament. What does the third statement mean? It means taxes were being fixed by the British Parliament. Okay, but it was not the case. So it was fixed by what? Indian Viceroy itself. Okay, Viceroy and whatever the Council of Ministers they had, they used to fix it. So the revenues of India were not controlled by the British Parliament. Okay, third one is wrong here. Okay, so previously whatever we made, this is correct. The third one is wrong. Okay, the answer is 1 and 2 only. Okay, 1 and 2 only. So here you will revise what? All those things. Starting from Pitt's India Regulating Act of 1773, Pitt's India Act. So there we will focus at the superficial level. So when it comes to 1813, so as they have repeatedly asked the question, we will focus into the detailed aspects. Okay, detailed aspects. So this will be the last question. Okay. This is a 2019 question. So this question can be linked to the recent which year's question? Yes. Self-respect movement. In which year they asked a question? In 2025. See here, even if you have gone through the previous year question paper also, so at least 1 or 2 if you are able to answer, then definitely the cost benefit ratio is very high. So in this year directly they have asked about what? Self-respect movement, and they had asked us to what? Identify the personality. E.V. Ramaswamy Iyer. Okay. Here. So All India Anti-Untouchability League, Mahatma Gandhi. All India Kisan Sabha, Swami Sahajanand Saraswati. So in the end list and whatever the organizations are compiled, organizations and founders. So if you prepare, then you will be able to answer such kind of questions confidently. If you look at 2019 question and 2025 question, which one is easier? 2025 is easier because directly it's a one-line statement. Who has started it? But here multiple different initiatives and multiple different personalities. Okay, personalities. So in the context of this question, you will revise what the founders and the organizations and founders, and also social reform movements and founders. Okay, founders. So with this question, we shall pause here itself. Okay, we shall pause here itself. So again, we shall start in next class. We shall resume with the discussions in the next class.